Hey, Leo Dreger here. I want to talk to you about a utility called WordPress Scanner. You can use this application in web application pen testing to get a basic idea of sort of a vulnerability scan with web applications, particularly WordPress sites. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go over to my Kali backtrack penetration testing, and you could pull up this utility a couple different ways. You can go into Kali Linux, go over to web applications, go over to content management system identification, and then choose WordPress scanner. Okay, or you can go ahead and just type it from the command prompt. So it's really easy. You basically just type in WordPress scan, hit enter, and it'll basically tell you some basic stuff, right? WordPress scanner, WordPress security scanner by the WP Scan team, right? It tells you the version of the tool, who sponsored the project, okay? And then some different examples. So Ruby wpscan.rb tac help or tac URL, right? And then a particular URL that you want, or you can use a specific word list to password and do brute force attempts. You can do that specifically for admin, and show you how you can incorporate a word list. And there are many word lists already included in the Kali penetration testing operating system, and it'll try to brute force the login information. How to enumerate installed plugins to see what's installed on it. How to find out what themes are relevant to the WordPress site, how to enumerate what users it is, right? So it's just the example enumerate tac.eu. How to look at installed thumbnails, okay? How to look at HTTP proxies, SOCKS proxy, which is a little bit more rare. How to look for content directories or the default directory names, like so basically anything WP, whatever directory. Using custom plugins. Updating the database in itself, so that's easy. That's just, literally, if you wanted to update this, you could just copy this and click update, right? So that's easy enough to do. So you could do a ruby./wp scan.rb tac update and let the update run. And you're going to want to run this from the directory. It is a little bit easier if you're doing it that way. I've already updated it and I'm using a different directory here, so you can take that out, right, and get the actual update to actual run. I'm not going to worry about that here and now. I actually want to just show you the scan the URL, and you're going to want to use the full URL --URL space, and then of course don't forget to include the HTTP // for linuxwarrior.com, and basically just let that run. And it'll take a couple minutes for it to enumerate the output because it is working in the background. So we'll just talk freely here about it. Now, when you're doing web application pen testing, it's very, very similar of a life cycle to regular, hacking and ethical hacking and penetration testing life cycles. You want to do your footprint, your scanning, your reconnaissance, your enumeration, and then, of course, the one that gets all the glory, the actual system hacks. So in this case, this would fall under scanning or web application vulnerability scanning specifically. So it's not real much. I mean, normally the difference is, penetration testing and ethical hacking and things like that, they normally are for networks and operating systems, where web application vulnerability and penetration testing is more for web servers specifically. Similar life cycles, except your targets are exclusively web targets as opposed to, networks and operating systems. So what you can see here is, it pulls the URL, so great, make sure you type that correctly. Your scan started here, it'll give you a little timestamp. The WordPress site, it says that it finds a readme.html file, and you'd want to go ahead and open that specifically because if there is a README, sometimes these README files can actually disclose the different versions of things in them. So we'll just go ahead and open that up, README. In this case, you can see it pulls the version 3.9.3, and this is a standard WordPress README file. So what I would always recommend doing is deleting this file. Now, of course, I've got a test website here that I'm testing all of this out on that I own and I control, so it hasn't been hardened. But it also tells me the PHP version 5.2.4, the MySQL, so it is using the LIMP architecture, PHP, MySQL, etc. MySQL is running at version 5 or higher, and you'd have to question if the mod_rewrite Apache module is actually configured appropriately at this point. The mod_rewrite Apache module, what that does is it changes your URLs and allows you to rewrite the extension so that you don't have .php and things like that listed in your URLs. Sometimes we call those search engine friendly URLs, but you try to hide things like ASP X or PHP, because then you can basically start guessing queries like ID equals to 1 or something like that. Okay, so you'd want to ultimately get rid of that. But it's clearly indicative of a WordPress site, or somebody's taken a lot of effort to try to mimic a WordPress site, which I would then in turn validate this by looking at the directory structure. And if I see something like WP admin or WP content or something like that, then it's probably spot on that it actually in fact is a WordPress site. Okay, so it found the README file, full path disclosure or FPD. You can see the WP includes RSS functions, so that's disclosed. It found that it was an Apache web server. It also found the interesting header that it's powered by PHP 5.3. In the README file, I believe we only knew that it was greater than 5.0. It found the XML RPC interface, so you'd have to wonder if that's vulnerable. The WordPress version is 3.9.3. We got that out of the help me file. The WordPress theme, in this case, it actually knows that it's a 2014 theme. The name, the location of the theme, and any sort of content that you can find that it's related to that. And it's pretty indicative because you get the plus sign here and then just dashes that tells you this is all part of the same header, if you will. And the reason why these themes are good is because sometimes people use themes, they don't update the themes, and then there's vulnerabilities specifically related to them, and then you can exploit the system by going after the theme in itself. Enumerating plugins from passive detection, no plugins found, which wouldn't be a false positive, or this tool cannot find them because there is some plugins on this website. Then your scan finished, the date and time in which it finished, the memory that was used, and the total time, about 2 minutes and 31 seconds. So within a couple of minutes, I can get a basic recon from a scanning utility, which is a Ruby script, and get a basic idea of what my target is. Okay, so if we kind of go back to this and look at the help, and again, you can just do a WP scan here, and it'll give you the syntax. You can start looking at different options in here. So don't forget that there's more to it. It's not just doing a WordPress scanner and that's it. You can look for users. You can do HTTP proxies, look for themes and plugins and things like that. So if I really wanted to push the enumeration, I would just redo my scan and just do enumerate-p, right, which is the enumerate plugins. So that would be -- enumerate p, and double check the syntax. It's just a p, no dash. Okay, and then go ahead and run that again. And again, the scanner will now just look for that one specific submodule. So at first I like to do this and just run it as a complete, tell me everything you can find, and then you can poke and prod and just look for some of the specifics. But definitely use this in the latest and greatest version. Throw it against your target, see what you get, document all of this. And if you wanted to document this, I just hit Control C here, so that's why we got a bunch of errors here. If I wanted to document this, I could just redirect the output here to WP scan.txt, and then all my output would be dumped right there. So if I just less that file WP scan, you can see where the content would be. You got to give it a couple more minutes to run, or else it won't produce anything in the file. But other than that, that's it. It's a great quick sanity check, especially if you know the type of site that you're looking at, and then and if it's WordPress, then you can go into that detail specifically. So I hope you enjoyed the video. My name's Leo Dreger. Don't forget to check us out on Cybrary, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, and connect, share. And the cool part about the Cybrary website is this is the network that you are building. You have to make this an awesome product. So I look forward to all of the connection requests and sharing that's about to come. My name is Leo Dreger. Thank you for watching.